Hey friends, it's Dimitri with Brushka Streetwear. So today I'm going to make a sort of technical video, but I think this will be really helpful for you guys when you're designing. And this sort of topic really only occurred to me over the past few months when I was designing this new design that I released. It was really popular. And what happened was I wanted to re-release this, so put it on a new style of shirt, possibly a hoodie. And when I was factoring whether or not I could put this on a hoodie, I ran into some issues. And the issue that I ran into was sizing, because when you want to transfer an artwork onto a hoodie, it sometimes might not always work depending on the size of the artwork, and I'll explain why. So this artwork right here, it measures 4.25 inches in length. Now, if I want to put that on a hoodie, what I'm going to run into, and the obvious problem, is the kangaroo pocket right here. So let's see how much space we have to work with right here. We only have about 13.25 inches, so a whole inch less space to put a graphic on here simply because of the kangaroo pocket. So when you're designing stuff and you want your design to translate well onto multiple pieces of clothing, whether that be t-shirts and hoodies, this is something that you got to think of before. And what might happen is you have several options. The first option is that you can scale down the artwork to fit on here, but there might be some problems with that. The first one is that it might look kind of strange or goofy. And the second one is that it will definitely cost you more because you're going to have to make more screens, and that adds up in the end, especially when you're starting out as a small clothing brand. That's probably not something you can swing at the time, is to make a bunch of screens. What you want to do, what works pretty well in general, is you have one size screen that fits on multiple hoodies. And for this example, this is a small hoodie, so that's why you only have this much relative space. When you get into hoodies that are large, extra large, double XL, this space between the bottom of the seam here and the kangaroo pocket probably is expanding. But like I said, if you're only using one set of screens, so it's all, the artwork is all the same size, it's not going to work and translate onto hoodies. So that's something that you want to think of. One thing that you might be able to do as well as you continue on in your clothing brand journey is that you might be having these custom made. So what they can do is they can actually print the design on the hoodie and then stitch in the pocket afterwards. So what that will mean is that some of your artwork gets cut off, but that's honestly an aesthetic preference. Some artwork does look cool like that when it's cut off and it's going into basically the kangaroo pocket. And for this design, that would actually work, I think, because this information in the design, like the bottom of this design, is not crucial to getting the point across. The design really works well if it's just this much. This is just added context to the, obviously, the nuclear explosion. The main focus in this design is obviously the text and the middle of the mushroom cloud. That's kind of what I'm trying to emphasize. So what do you do if you want to avoid this issue and you don't want to run into it? The thing that you have to do is you have to have your structure on Adobe Illustrator or Photoshop, whatever file system you're using to create artwork. You want to make sure that your artboards are set up a specific way, and I'm going to show you what mine look like on my computer. And this is actually an improvement I recently made because I ran into this issue. So I'm going to show you guys that right now. Alrighty, here's my recent improvement. So what I did was I have two files. I have a final project template, and this is basically the final artwork goes on here, and then it gets sent to the printers and manufacturers. And then I have this new project, and in parentheses says rough. What I mean by rough is that this is basically where I'm just throwing my artwork on, because while you're designing, what you want to do is make sure you're designing within the bounds that you practically have. So I recently contacted my printer that I use a lot, and I asked them, hey, what is the maximum print size that you guys can do? And they told me 14 by 16 inches. So if I'm making artwork it basically has to fall within these bounds. So I set my artwork files, my artboards to this size. So anytime I'm designing something, if it fits within these bounds, it's for sure going to be able to go onto at least a t-shirt. Now what I did for the hoodie aspect of it was I added this guide right here at the 13-inch mark. Yes, the hoodie space from the seam to the pocket is 13.25, but I just added a little bit less to keep it safer. So if I create artwork that fits within this sort of square box right here, and it doesn't go beyond this, I know in my brain that this artwork will translate onto a t-shirt, a long sleeve, and a hoodie. It won't necessarily have to be just for t-shirts and hoodies. And then I don't have to scale it down or change the artwork or anything like that. And ultimately what this does is if you have your artboard set up like this with the proper scale and the proper max dimensions that you can use, if you ask your manufacturer, your screen printer, it's going to leave you with a lot less headaches, and it's going to be much more easy to create artwork and streamlined because you know your artwork is going to translate well onto, like I said, hoodies or t-shirts. So this is what I suggest doing. If you use Adobe Illustrator to create your projects or Photoshop, first go ask your printer manufacturer what's their max size that they can realistically do. And this is obviously for just general printing. Obviously you can go much bigger and make oversized prints and that kind of stuff, but that is kind of going beyond what normal printers do, and that's going into more custom manufacturing. But yeah, you want to ask them what the max size they can do is, and then you want to create a template where you plug that size into your artboard, so when you're designing, you know for sure it's going to fit in there. So yeah, if you guys got any value of this video, or if you have any comments or questions, you can leave them down in the comment section below, and I'll catch you guys later. Thanks.